everyone. I'm Susan Harrison, Senior Vice President with EXIT Realty. I've been keeping an eye on Exit Strategy Realty's Zeke Morris on social media. When I saw that in 2022 he was named the first African American president of the 50,000 member Illinois REALTOR Association and its 2023 Realtor of the Year, I wanted you to meet him. And who better to lead a conversation with Zeke than his broker owner, Nick Libert. Welcome, gentlemen.
Well, Susan, thank you so much for that introduction. We really appreciate it. Always a pleasure to be with everybody in the Exit Nation across the US and Canada. And I have the distinct pleasure of being with my good friend and colleague and trusted mentor in the industry, Zeke Morris.
How are you? Good afternoon. Glad to be amongst the Exit Nation.
Well, Zeke comes to us with a tremendous amount of knowledge and resources for our industry. I have followed Zeke for many years before we got the opportunity to work together at Exit. He's done tremendous things in our community. We were both at a different real estate brokerage at the same time and in leadership capacities many years ago. And I have the honor today of discussing with Zeke what he sees going on in our industry, what the unique position and opportunity is for Exit Realty. And I'm just so excited to be here with you today, Zeke, in the Frank J. Williams Education Center, which is a part of a building that Zeke owns, and he's doing tremendous things in the local community right here in the South Chicago neighborhood and all across the South Side of Chicago. So I'd like to start off by asking Zeke, how did you get your start in real estate?
Well, got my start probably back in the late 90s. Started out as I had bought my first condo. And then once I bought that condo, I began to do some work with the folks at ShoreBank. And ShoreBank got me interested in wanting to be more than just an owner of real estate, but also to help to learn how to be in development and also how to encourage people within the community to help to reinvest within that community.
And Zeke, you've been a huge promoter of the communities and some communities I don't think always get a spotlight on them. We are here again in the South Chicago neighborhood. What attracted you to focus on certain neighborhoods and as you began your journey of educating others?
Well, I felt that if you look at our communities, we have basically Chicago as a tale of two cities. You know, you look at everything that's north of Madison Street, there is a different connotation in terms of value and also in terms of investment. The South and the West sides have been traditionally underserved from the perspective of reinvestment, also people feeling that there's something of value within those communities. I've always felt that there is hidden value within these communities, and we needed to try to figure out how do we educate people on those values, and then two, what do we have to do to incite other investment within the communities? As you know, let's go back to like 2008, our values just plummeted when we had what we call the Great Recession. At that point, our values in those communities of color went from lost value anywhere from 58 to 60%. And here we are in 2023, and we still have not recovered to those 2008 values, making it difficult for communities of color to grow through the perspective of wealth building through owning real estate. And that is the biggest concern that we have for our South and West side is how do we get our communities back on track? How do we make it a destination as opposed to some place where our young kids who are now graduating from college, who are in professional roles, and then they don't see the value within the community, and so they're moving to other communities. And so what we have to do, or what we're trying to do, is recreate value within those communities. And one of the ways of doing that is giving them a choice. And I know that when you think about our communities, one of the things that people all say, well, I don't want to invest there because the value's not there. And so we have to create values by, and one of the ways we're doing that is with one of our agents, as you know, who is Wayne Bills, and he is doing zero energy homes. He's representing a builder who is committed to the community, and he's building zero energy homes that primarily like in the Woodlawn area. And what is happening is just 3 years ago, we were struggling to get values at 300,000. And now we're well over 600,000 in that community. And people are saying, well, what about it? And what about gentrification? Well, gentrification is important, but it's also important to, in order for you to have growth, you're going to have some gentrification. What we need to do is just empower the people within the community to be able to, one, stay, and then two, to reignite people who would have choices to go other places. So I just give you an example of one of the clients who I represented on one of Wayne's homes. He's a young man who is a nurse. He's been a nurse for a few years and wanted to move to the north side. We convinced him that there's a greater opportunity on the south side, and so he's moved to the Woodlawn community, and he was able to buy a 2-flat for about $530,000. That same 2-flat in another community would have been over $1.2 million. So it's someone who can see the future, and then two, the other side of a zero energy home is you are reducing the cost of the operation or the sustainability of that home by up to $3,000 in a given year, because you're not spending those extra dollars on gas, and or because you're using solar as the vehicle to actually fire the homes. That is another savings for the individual. And then in addition to that, there's other tax credits and all kinds of things that make it affordable.
And that's exciting because we talked about affordability being such a key factor and benefit of being in these communities that Zeke is focused in and has done so much work for. And then at the same time, now we have not only affordability, but the excitement of bringing innovation into these communities. And Wayne Beals is a star agent at EXIT. And one of the great things that myself, Wayne, and Zeke have in common is we all were small independent brokerages for a number of years. And as I think some of our audience will know, you can take your real estate license anywhere. We all get recruited by everybody. And so Zeke, for you, what made you decide to want to choose EXIT to affiliate your small independent brokerage with?
Well, as we had talked about earlier, I've been part of a franchise, and I went independent because I didn't think that the support was there from the other franchise. Looked at what EXIT had to offer, and tremendous opportunity as it relates to educational tools for the agents. Because, I mean, realistically, as an independent, what you are faced with is always trying to recreate the wheel. When you have a company such as EXIT, what I think the benefit, or when you look at a cost analysis of why you belong to someone, that was there. I mean, and the tools that you promote, just making sure that people are trained and properly able to work within the community. That's the key. And so EXIT gave that opportunity for the agents that we had here. And we had about 30 agents on the south side, but they weren't in the mainstream in terms of technology and all of those things. So EXIT brings that. And then, so what did I think was a perfect marriage is that we have this center, the Frank J. Williams Center, which we utilize for training. And it's also, I think it's a great recruiting tool for people who want to say, let's see what EXIT has to offer. And they can see, one, the technology, not only the technology of the center, because we have, this location has fiber, which is a unique thing for most offices on the south side. So we are trying to make sure that we provide what we can, and then you put on top of that what EXIT has to offer, and it's just a marriage made for them.
And I agree with that, and I love to see that marriage be so productive, because I'm watching the agents that already had a great leader now have a tool stack and a technology and training stack on top of that coming from EXIT, that we individually had a lot of great ideas and great initiatives, but now we have that tool stack on top of that, the training stack from EXIT, that we maybe could have not recreated on our own, but we had our own strengths that we brought to the table, and EXIT was able to deliver the rest. And I guess a follow-up question to that then is, if you were a new agent out there, what would your advice be? Or now that you have trained and coached and mentored so many agents, what would your advice be to a newer agent, either in the industry at large or coming to EXIT for the first time?
Well, the first is to establish what your niche is going to be, and then be consistent. If you're going to be some folks can't always start full time, so they have to have a minimum. I would say they would need to have a minimum of being able to contribute at least 20 hours a week to the program, and that's the training. And primarily, if you don't invest in yourself, then there's no growth. And whatever you do, if you don't have some intentionality, as well as someone to also be a mentor, as well as someone who can help you to be accountable. I think those are the keys. With accountability and desire, then the rest is the sky's the limit, especially if you have the kind of tools that EXIT has to get us there.
I agree with that, definitely. And one of the things that I love watching, and a lot of agents, even not at EXIT, love watching, is all the community building and the educational events that go on right here at the Frank J. Williams Education Center. And before anything else, I would say to anybody out there, look at what value you can bring to the community, because everybody, I don't want to say anybody can be a real estate agent, but there's a lot of real estate agents out there. And if you're not pouring back into the community, it's so much harder to build a tribe and a group of what I call your referral army or raving fans. Zeke, could you give us an example of some of the community building and the education that comes out of the agents and yourself here at the Frank J. Williams Education Center?
Well, one of the things that we do is probably about 3 years ago, we were doing trolley tours through this location, and again, we had other EXIT agents that were part of that, and so it has helped us to build a permanency within the community where people allow or they want us to be around. We have also allowed the community, when they want to have special meetings, they do them here. And anything that we can do to accommodate the community, to show that we're part of the community, we want that to be. So if we have some of the community groups that want to be a part of what we do, and they come here. Another group that is, which was the, looking at building better fathers, is the group that is also a part of this organization. Part in that they operate out of here, and what they do is they seek to help young fathers to become one, better role models for their children, and then two, and to help them to grow and understand what their value is and the value of being part of your child's life. And that's through the Dovetail Group. The Dovetail Group is an organization that's been around for a little over 10 years. I've been around them for probably about that time. And, that's how we got to the center, is they were looking for a bigger space. And this space was a little bit too large for them. And so I happened to know the actual owner of it, and I told him what we were trying to do. And he said, hey, take the space over and we'll figure it out later. And it's been, from that has been a dream come true, in order for us to, one, be able to tell or bring people into this environment. When they come in from the outside, they, I don't think that they feel like this is a great space, but when they get inside, they were like, oh, I didn't know this existed. So that is really where we want the wow factor in that this is a place of value. And two, it's a safe space. It's a safe space for the community. It's a safe space for young fathers. It's a safe space for, we also work with groups like NHS. NHS does, they do, before they open their office on 87th, we did, all of their trainings were done out of this office. And we were just talking about after COVID, now we want to try to reintegrate ourselves together in terms of working together. And then the third thing is we are an extension of the Chicago Association of Realtors Education Committee. And so this is one of the real estate schools where we have people that who don't necessarily want to go downtown, and they can come here and we can have trainings where you have anywhere from 30 to 50 people in this room.
And with the fiber and the advanced internet and the staff here being so welcoming, I look at it as a community incubator, not just a real estate office, but a community incubator. And one of the exciting things when Zeke and I started talking about working together was that there was not, and I believe there's still not, any franchise organization in real estate south of 47th. And so you have this huge opportunity in this big city that, half the city is not being serviced until us by a true leader in real estate. We've got small independents like we both were and like Wayne was doing some good things, but now you have the power of an international brand and the technology behind you, and then turn around and open up the opportunity for the community to learn and grow, not just about real estate, but organizations like Dovetail. We've got their banner right behind us. It's exciting to watch community building in action, not just real estate sales. And that I commend you, because it's not something that I think most people think about in the way that Zeke has thought about it and built this team focused on community building around you. And speaking of leadership, you are known in our industry as a leader. And I got to know you when the real estate market was really, really tough. And you were ascending to the presidency of the Chicago Association of Realtors. You've been so active on multiple levels, and now at the state board, just finished as president. What got you into leadership at the volunteer level within the realtor industry?
And in 1996, there was a gentleman by the name of Frank J. Williams. And Frank is my mentor in the industry, and he's also a mentor of a lot of others within this industry. And he said to me, I need you to step up and be a volunteer leader. And I said to him, Frank, I don't have time for that. I'm raising a family, I got kids to feed, trying to run a business. He said, I guarantee you that if you commit yourself to balance your business, your family, and volunteer leadership, it will be very rewarding to you. And here we are, 20 plus years later, and it's been an honor, and it's also been I think it gives you an avenue to be able to speak to other young realtors who are trying to do things and want to see themselves be one part of the fabric of the community, and also understand the main thing or the main reason why we do what we do, which is the American dream. American dream of home ownership is the most important thing that all of us can do, not only for ourselves as realtors, but also as for our clients, because that's how we build. You build wealth through, and it happens over time through the ownership of real estate. That is how, our parents sent us to school. It's how we have been able to do what we can do for our children. And we need to also teach them to not only to be consumers, but also to be owners. And because with ownership comes a lot of other things of value. Yes, it's not always easy, but it's still important. And so leadership is one of the things that you can do. And I've been a proponent of, you can't be what you can't see. And so I try to live my life in a perspective of letting folks see, if you are willing to lend yourself to be a volunteer. And volunteerism is not something where you you shouldn't overdo it. What I mean by that is you should have balance. The first thing that you have is, my thing is God, my family, and then my business. And so I have to do something that I believe in. And then secondly, there needs to be a benefit to my family, because while you are growing a business and while you are volunteering, those are the folks that are sacrificing, or you sacrifice their time by trying to do something within the community. So they need to understand that there's some value that comes back to them. And also they need to know that they're appreciated for the time that you spend away from them. So leadership I think it's something that we all should aspire to, but we should first aspire to take care of ourselves and our families first. And once we can do that, because you can't be something to someone else until you can take care of yourself. And it's like when you're on a plane, they say, put your mask on before you help someone else. And what they're saying is that you have to be in a position where you are stable so that you can then help others to be stable.
Well, that answers kind of my thought was, how do you balance your time, because you have so much on your plate. Do you have a team around you that helps you with some of the logistics of things, or what would you say is that your biggest resource to help you balance?
Well, I mean, I have, as you know, in real estate, there are various ways of making money. The way I stabilize, or the way that I operate in this business is, one, my primary is through property management. And through property management, that helps me, the money that I generate there helps me to pay for, I do have employees, and I have 5 W-2 employees, and so that funds them. The building itself, because we rent it out and do other things, that covers the cost or the operation of the building. And then the agents who work with EXIT are the extra, or the way that you generate additional income. So you need multiple streams, and those streams all count. And then I'm working on this other thing that EXIT has, which is what we call residuals, and that is very important, because if we can teach our agents to not only to do for themselves, but to, as they recruit others within this business and they help or invest in them, there is a return, and that return is through some of the residuals that we have. And so I'm sold in terms of what the system has to offer for us.
And me too, with the residual bonuses we both have had, it's had such a great impact on our lives. And now it's fun to see leaders that you've built turn around and pay it forward, but also monetize that mentoring with other people. When you're looking at EXIT, what do you see? What are your goals for the future of EXIT? Where do you see EXIT going, both locally and beyond?
Well, in the next 5 years, I'd like to see us to grow the agents that are a part of EXIT by 100. That's our goal over the next 5 years, so that EXIT is a strong community the way it is, but we can offer, if we can bring in 100 others that can do that will do a couple of things. One, it will strengthen this location, but it will also strengthen our footprint within the industry, and it will increase the foot soldiers that are out there preaching and teaching on the principles of EXIT.
And that's a beautiful thing, the way that we're seeing that vision come out there. What would you say the biggest challenge is facing our industry in the next few years?
Well, value. I think value is the most important thing. And we always talk about, as you go across the industry nationally or state level or even locally, people are always talking about inventory. And we talk about inventory, and then we talk about affordability. And I say that in a city like Chicago, there is plenty of inventory, it's just not desirable. And so we have to learn how to invest in those underserved communities that will then help us to grow or stretch out into communities that where if everybody is in one place, there's no growth. And so we need to be able to get folks to extend their vision in terms of what they think homeownership looks like, because what homeownership is to me is different for what it looks like for you and for 100 other folks who are out there. Each dream is different. And what we want to do is offer the opportunity for you to achieve your dream and then to make it sustainable. Now, when I think of what can we do in terms of as a challenge is how do we create homeownership opportunities in undervalued communities where people can not only see that investment, but that investment, 5-10 years from now, what does it look like for them, and does it create the dream of passing on generational wealth? And with that, if we can achieve that, then I think we're doing great. If you look at the home ownership numbers for the African American community is still at it's about at 45%, and as opposed to the white community where we're at 75 or 80%. When you look at those numbers, then it's easy to understand why the communities are behind. And if we can increase those numbers, and if we can increase the value of that investment, then we will, I think we'll achieve the ceiling. There is no ceiling. We will just, I think we'll just continue to grow, and people will then become our own ambassadors for us and for our communities.
I agree with that. So, looking back at what we've talked about today and about the community and about becoming involved as a volunteer leader and things like that, what I've always enjoyed about the transparency you've had with people and some of the other people you've mentored, like Marky Lemons, that so many agents know and respect. Today is a great day. Not every day has been a great day for, I think, a lot of us that have been on this webinar or in the community. And you and I both faced tough times head on, but if somebody out there today is not yet in the mode that they want to be in, or they're facing some hard times, maybe it's post-COVID or just their personal business isn't going the way they want it to yet, where they can start doing some of the rest of this, how in a tough time did you keep going?
Well, one, a lot of prayer. And two is consistency. You just, every day that you wake up, you have to have a set of principles to operate by. And with the tools, if you have tools to get out and grow your business, eventually it will come. Eventually it will come. And the one thing about our business is that it's not a microwave, meaning that it takes time to generate, and it also takes consistency, and we've got to do it every day. I mean, it's no different from anything else. A lot of folks think that because you're in real estate, you can make your own hours, you can do what you want, you can stay in later. That's not the truth. You got to be consistent about what you do, and you have to get out, and people need to see that you are doing your best to be of service to them. And as you show value to your community, to the people that you serve, the rest will come to you. And you got to lean upon the people who've been there. If you've got a question, you should be able to have an open door to come in and get an answer. And you should feel comfortable that that people are going to take the time to say yes, meet with you and talk about what you can do to help to grow your business. And I think that when you get down, as we all do, it's not hard to get down, and especially in times when things are tough. The hardest part is to keep pushing, keep putting one foot in front of the other, and having the belief that what you're doing is of value, and then two, that there will be eventually some results. And so I would encourage each person who enters our business, one, to live below your means. And because you're going to have some great times or great years or great months, when you have those, set aside some of those funds and then look at how do you reinvest in yourself. And I would say that if you can reinvest 20% of everything you do into your into your business in some form or fashion, then it will grow. It will grow.
Amazing. And I really appreciate you being someone that we all can lean in on. You have such a kind open door policy. You are such a patient human being with us when we do not always do what we should. And I appreciate you being a mentor to me and so many others, and all you've done for the industry. It's been an honor to be here with you today and get to talk to you on a different level than sometimes when we're rushed in and out and just trying to get through our days. You are an inspiration to many, and I'm so honored that we are under the same roof, sir.
Well, thank you. I thank you for coming to me and to talk about the opportunities. And you know, a dream is only a dream unless it has some discussion of how you make that dream a reality. And so you've been a great part or a big part of that. And so I'm glad that I'm here. And I think that we've only had the ceiling is still there, and we've got a long way to go.
We do. A lot of work left to do. Thank you, my friend, very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for the opportunity to be with you today.
Thank you.
Nick and Zeke, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your expertise with our EXIT family today. And everyone, thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.